I have spent over 20 years watching some of the most brilliant minds I know completely sabotage their own retirements. It is a strange and tragic pattern that seems to repeat, regardless of how much the world changes. Here we are in the year 2026, with all the artificial intelligence and advanced financial tools at our fingertips, yet the smartest people are still the ones struggling to walk away. I am talking about the surgeon who can perform complex operations with his eyes closed, but cannot pull the trigger on leaving his practice at 72. Meanwhile, his neighbor, a man who spent 40 years fixing air conditioners and barely understands how a stock dividend works, has been sitting on a beach in Florida since he was 58. The engineer who can calculate compound interest rates in his sleep is still answering stressful emails on a Sunday night, while the high school friend who struggled with basic algebra is currently traveling the world. This is not a coincidence, and it is not just bad luck. The smarter you are, statistically, the longer you are likely to work. And it is not because you need the money. It is because you have trapped yourself in an analytical prison of your own making. In this discussion, we are going to look at why intelligence often becomes a massive liability when it comes to the end of a career. We are going to explore why the very decision-making framework that made you a high achiever is now actively working against your happiness. If you find this perspective helpful and want to see more deep dives into the psychology of wealth and time, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us reach more people who are struggling with these same heavy decisions. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below about your own retirement timeline. Now, let us look at the first great trap, which I call chronic optimization syndrome. When you are intelligent and highly educated, you have spent your entire life being rewarded for finding the perfect, most optimal solution. You did not just finish your projects, you finished them better and more efficiently than everyone else. You were promoted because you saw the tiny inefficiencies that nobody else noticed. Your entire professional identity is built on the belief that there is always a better answer if you just think hard enough. But when you apply this logic to retirement, every single choice becomes an overwhelming optimization problem. You start asking yourself if you should retire today or wait for the next bonus cycle in 6 months. You calculate that if you stay just one more year, your portfolio might grow by another 7%, which equals another $90,000 in future money. You look at your restricted stock units and realize that if you leave now, you are walking away from $200,000 that have not vested yet. The math is correct, and that is exactly the problem. You are optimizing for your bank account balance, but you are completely failing to optimize for your actual life. Think of your career like climbing a vast mountain. When you are young, the goal is simple and clear. You must get to the top. Higher elevation means more status, more security, and more money for your family. Smart people are incredible at climbing mountains because they find the most efficient routes and use their leverage well. But the point of climbing a mountain was always to eventually stop and enjoy the view. Highly intelligent people get so focused on the strategy of the ascent that they forget why they started climbing in the first place. They are still looking for a slightly better ledge to stand on, when they should be sitting down and watching the sunset. The people you might think are less sophisticated are actually just better at looking around at 7,000 feet and saying, "This is good enough." They did not run a complex simulation to see if 8,000 feet would provide a 12% better view. They simply stopped climbing because they wanted to start living. Let us look at the data from 2026, which shows that households in the top income bracket retire nearly 3 years later than the median household. These are people who could objectively afford to leave much earlier, yet they stay trapped in the optimization loop. You might be 62 years old with $2 million in your account, and your financial advisor tells you that you have a 92% probability of never running out of money. To most people, 92% sounds like a guaranteed win. But to a smart, risk-averse person, that 8% chance of failure feels like a looming disaster. So you ask what it would take to get to 98% certainty? The advisor tells you that you just need to work 3 more years and save another $200,000. You choose the 3 extra years because 98% feels safe while 92% feels like chaos. But you are paying for that 6% increase in a computer model with 3 actual years of your limited life. You are trading your healthiest remaining years for a tiny bit of theoretical certainty in a world that is fundamentally uncertain anyway. The simulation tools we use today are useful, but smart people treat the model as if it is reality. It is not. It is just a series of assumptions based on historical data that may or may not apply to the future we are living in right now. The second major trap is the intense need for control. Smart people survive and thrive by controlling variables. You are handing your future over to market forces, inflation rates, and geopolitical events that you cannot predict or influence. If you are the type of person who has always been the smartest person in the room, the idea of trusting the universe to not screw you over is terrifying. So you keep working because your job is the one thing you can still control. You know exactly when your paycheck arrives. You know your health insurance is covered. And you know your career title gives you respect. Retirement feels like jumping off a cliff into the unknown. But by staying in the game longer to keep that feeling of control, you are actually surrendering control of the only thing that truly matters: your time. You are letting your employer control your energy and your daily schedule just so you can feel a little more financially secure. It is a bad trade that most people realize too late. Consider a man named David, a high-level director at a technology company here in 2026. David has a net worth of over $2.5 million, and his house is completely paid off. His spending is modest, and even the most conservative math shows he can retire comfortably right now. But David is worried about the market volatility we have seen over the last year. He thinks if he works 2 more years, he can reach $3 million. And that extra $500,000 will protect him against any possible downturn. In his mind, he is being responsible and intelligent. In reality, he is choosing to spend 2,000 more hours in meetings he hates, reporting to people he does not respect, and missing his grandson's baseball games. He is trading his absolute best remaining years for a number on a screen that he will probably never even spend. The truth is that your spending needs will actually decrease as you get older. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that households over the age of 75 spend significantly less than they did at 65. You need to fund the active years of your life, which are happening right now. Smart people also have a very difficult time walking away because of their identity. When you are highly successful, your work is not just what you do. It is who you are. You are the director, the vice president, the senior lead, or the founder. People come to you for answers, and your professional competence provides you with a massive ego boost every single day. Walking away from that title feels like walking away from your existence. Without the office, without the emails, and without the status, who are you? The people, they have hobbies, they have communities, and they have a sense of purpose that does not require a salary to validate it. If you want to avoid the trap of working until you are too tired to enjoy it, you must start building that non-work identity today. You need to become okay with being a student again, with being a beginner at something new, and with not being the most important person in the room. The irony of intelligence is that it allows you to justify almost any behavior with a logical-sounding argument. But you cannot logic your way out of mortality. Every year you spend optimizing your portfolio is a year you are not spending with the people you love. It is a year you are trading away for a future that is not guaranteed to anyone. I want you to take a moment and think about your own enough number. Not the number that makes you feel 100% certain, but the number that makes you free. Is it worth trading 5 more years of your life to go from a 90% success rate to a 95% success rate? If you were on your deathbed, looking back at this moment, would you be glad you stayed for that final retention bonus? Or would you wish you had left the office and taken that trip with your spouse while you both could still walk comfortably? The answer is usually very clear when we look at it from the end of our lives. The challenge is having the courage to act on that clarity while we are still in the middle of it. The market will give you an average return of 8% a year if you are lucky. But life will not give you 8% more time just because you waited. If you have found this discussion valuable, please hit the like button and share this with someone you know who is stuck in the one more year cycle. I invite you to subscribe to this channel as we continue to explore the intersection of money, time, and human happiness in this complex year of 2026. Please leave a comment below and tell us, what is the one thing you are most looking forward to doing once you finally walk away? Your stories often provide the inspiration that someone else needs to finally make their move. The people who retire successfully are not necessarily richer than you are. They are simply the ones who realized that the most important resource they have is not sitting in a bank account. The finish line will always move if you let it. You can keep running the numbers, or you can start living your life. Being smart enough to understand compound interest is great, but being wise enough to understand when to stop is even better. Do not let your intelligence become the very thing that keeps you from your freedom. The sunset is waiting for you, but you have to be willing to sit down and watch it. Thank you for being here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.